These strategic water source catchments in the Western Cape of South Africa supply 97% of fresh water in the Cape, as well as supporting immense and globally important biodiversity in one of the 6 floral kingdoms. This collective action project, convened by RAP and delivered by WWF South Africa, is looking to bring together the food and drink value chain to collectively protect the water resources for both planet and for people.
So my role is really to set up the partnerships on the ground and to make sure that we're able to help the RAP court-hold water roadmap signatories meet their targets, and that's around sustainable water management within the strategic water source areas of South Africa. So working with the farmers and the value chain, the exporter, importers and the markets. So some of the work that we're doing is trying to move from beyond the farm gate into a catchment scale. And in order to achieve that, we really need to come together, and then we can drive some of that change that's required from just individuals trying to do their bit to be able to achieve kind of through the value chain and at catchment scale within this important part of the world.
Where we're standing here in the Koa Bokkerveld is essentially a very important agricultural hub, primarily a deciduous export fruit. And so I've been working here for the last 10 years or so in trying to balance the needs of the ecosystem against farming needs in terms of water. And in South Africa, what is generally known throughout the world as environmental flows, we have legislation which is targeted at leaving a certain proportion of the water in rivers to meet downstream user needs as well as ecosystem needs. We refer to this as the ecological reserve. So where in the past we would look at water resource management on a farm-by-farm basis, this is looking at a catchment-wide basis, which is essential for delivering these flows.
It's a joint project where we do alien invasive clearing along the riparian zones of the rivers, and we also replant indigenous vegetation along the river courses for water security and biodiversity, and also to flood attenuation. This system where somebody's employed as a warm body but in a community leveraging project funding hasn't really been done up until before we started this, and the value of it is really shown because now there's someone that can remind the farmers of all of the other responsibilities that they normally wouldn't have had time to.
We live here in the Cedarburg, in these beautiful mountains. I was born and raised here, and we farm here with fruit, citrus, peaches, a bit of rooibos, and of course with this lovely river systems we do a bit of tourism. There's two sides as I see it. The one is the aliens are clogging up the river systems. So what would happen usually in winter is the rivers eventually get so clogged up that the river banks would push out and break the river banks. Second thing is water usage. Studies have shown that some of the fully grown eucalyptus trees and stuff can consume about 200 liters of water a day.
We're tasked with clearing the alien vegetation, making sure that they are done to a certain quality so that they will not regrow again. And this obviously restores more water coming down the river for farmers to use, and the byproduct biochar is just one aspect that we're trying to develop with the mess that we are creating when we are clearing the alien vegetation. Yeah. So at the moment we are managing 6 teams. So our teams are mostly filled with women, even though it's really, really hard work. Part of the government's requirements is to upskill people as well, so we put them through training. And then in terms of long-term job opportunities, there's so much alien species along our rivers. If you just look at it, there's work for years.
One of the challenges that we face in South Africa in terms of managing water is that the capacity isn't always on the ground. Water is a very difficult resource to manage. It's high demand, it's very mobile, it can be pumped out, it can be stored. And particularly in a catchment where you don't have a central water resource infrastructure like a large dam or something where you can manage flows downstream. It requires a lot of monitoring, it requires modelling. This requires a lot of expertise, which we simply don't have on the ground in the country. So we're developing tools that hopefully can translate complex hydrological models into less complex administrative tasks. The auditing systems tended to focus on a farm-by-farm basis. Water you can't manage like that. It's moving between farms, it's being abstracted. This assessment tool that we developed, the Sustainable Water Management metric, is designed to assess that water use at a catchment scale, to get a picture of just how well water governance is working at the catchment scale, and in particular in the delivery of environmental flows downstream. So it's focused on the governance structures, on the monitoring, and how well that catchment is performing in terms of its ability to meet sustainability targets and flows for the ecosystem.
To ensure that we can demonstrate that we have a resilient supply base in the Western Cape, it's really important that we understand the on-the-ground realities. Now that is from a full value chain perspective, and therefore we do need a collaborative approach that brings all stakeholders together, because we've all got different perspectives, but all those perspectives are important and they need to be collated to form strategy and inform tactics to ensure that we have got a continuous improvement roadmap.
To make a difference, we must work together. Join us now to protect these critical water resources and build resilience in our food systems.